Going back home should feel familiar, comfortable, easy, normal. But after living abroad, it doesn't always feel that way. In fact, some things will shock you. And one of them you won't even notice at first. Because no one really talks about this part. We prepare for culture shock when moving abroad, but no one prepares you for the shock of going back home. The first few moments feel great, seeing family again. Familiar places, enjoying our favorite food. Everything feels right. But then, small things start to feel different. You feel like a visitor. This is the first strange feeling. You're home, but you don't fully feel like you belong. Your routines are different. Your habits have changed. And suddenly, home feels slightly unfamiliar. People haven't changed, but you have. This one hits quietly. Everything looks the same. People talk the same. Live the same. But for you, you have changed. Your mindset is different. Your perspective is wider, and that gap, you can feel it. And this leads to something even more uncomfortable. Conversations feel different. At first, conversations feel normal. But then you notice something. Some conversations feel shallow. Not bad, just different. Because you've experienced new cultures, new ideas, and new ways of thinking. And now, it's harder to relate with the old ways and routines. You notice things you never saw before. This one is subtle. Things you once ignored, you now notice instantly. Systems, attitudes, everyday behaviors. Living abroad changes your awareness. And once you see things differently, you can't unsee them. You appreciate small things more. Not everything feels strange. Some things feel more meaningful. Family time, home-cooked meals, simple moments. Things you once took for granted now feel valuable. But this next one is where things really shift. Your old life doesn't fit the same. You try to step back into your old routines, but something feels off. Places feel smaller. Routines feel very limiting. It's not that they're bad. They just don't fit you the same way they used to anymore. You feel caught between two worlds. This is one of the hardest feelings. You don't fully belong abroad. But now, you don't fully belong at home either. You're in between. And that can feel confusing. Time feels different. You realize how much you've missed. Events, moments, places. Life didn't pause while you were away. And that realization hits deeper than expected. Your priorities have changed. Things that once mattered don't feel as important anymore. And things you never thought about now matter more. Growth does that. It reshapes what you value. People don't fully understand your experience. This one can feel frustrating. You try to explain what life abroad is like. The struggles, the growth, the changes. But most people don't really get it. Not because they don't care, but because they haven't lived it. And that creates a quiet disconnect. You've outgrown some relationships. This is one of the hardest realizations. Some connections don't feel the same anymore. Conversations don't flow like before. The energy feels different. Not because anyone did something wrong, but because you've grown in different directions. And accepting that isn't easy. You feel like you have to shrink yourself. Sometimes you hold back. You simplify your experiences. You don't share everything. Because you feel like people won't relate or won't understand. So you adjust yourself to fit in again. And that can feel exhausting. Reverse culture shock is real. You expect to struggle abroad, But you don't expect to struggle at home. Simple things suddenly feel strange. The way people think, the way systems work, even social norms. And it catches you off guard, because you thought coming home would feel easy. You notice how much fear holds people back. This one can feel uncomfortable. You start hearing the same phrases. That's too risky. I could never do that. What if it doesn't work? And you realize you used to think like that too. But living abroad changed your mindset. Now, you see possibilities where you once saw fear. You feel pressure to explain your life. People ask questions. What's it like? Are you coming back? Why did you leave? And over time, it can feel like you're constantly explaining your choices, defending your path. Even when you're just trying to live your life. You realize you can't fully go back. This is a big one. Even if you return home, you can't return to who you were. That version of you doesn't exist anymore, because your experiences changed you. And there's no undo button for growth. You start seeing your old life from the outside. This is subtle but powerful. You observe things instead of just being part of them. Old routines, old habits, old environments. It's like watching your past life from a distance. And that perspective changes everything. You crave different things now. What excites you has changed. What motivates you has changed. What you want from life has changed. And sometimes that doesn't align with what's around you back home, which can feel isolating. You realize growth comes with distance. This is the deeper truth behind everything. Distance didn't just separate you physically. It gave you space to grow, to think differently, to evolve, to become more self-aware. And that space changed you more than you expected. You see comfort zones clearly. Being back home shows you something clearly. How easy it is to stay comfortable. How routines can limit growth. And how much you've changed by stepping outside of that. You start missing your new life. This surprises a lot of people. You finally go back home, but you start missing the life you built abroad. The independence you had. The challenges you encountered. The growth. And that's when you realize you've built a second version of home. And all of this leads to one realization. Going back home doesn't just show you your past. It shows you who you've become. You left home to build a new life. But in the process, you became a new person. And now when you go back, you see everything differently. And maybe that's the point. Not to go back to who you were, but to understand how far you've come. If you've ever gone back home after living abroad, what shocked you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if this resonated with you, subscribe to Abroad Insights. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.